I'm Mo.
I'm Jenoa.
And we're having
the sex talk.
The sex talk.
The sex talk.
Today's question comes to us from a woman, and she wants to know how to tell her partner what she likes in the bedroom, what pleases her. She's having a real difficult time.
I understand. That can be really scary. It's very vulnerable. It's very intimate.
And it can be awkward when your partner just throws it out there, well, what do you want me to do?
I'm a totally liberated, highly sexual woman, and I still clam up when someone's like, well, what do you like?
Right.
That's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It is really hard because it is a very personal thing to be able to express what you like. So
yes.
There's always go slow, take your time. There's always that. It's very personal. Mm-hmm. But if the issue is that you don't really know what you like,
that can be part of the truth too.
Yeah. Because here you are having sex and you don't even know what you like.
Well, you know what you like when it happens.
Sometimes you can't wait for it to happen. We gotta take charge.
Okay, so what do?
You masturbate.
Hey!
Masturbation.
Yeah.
Self-love is good.
Okay, and I can see where when you get really in touch with your own body, you can figure out what stimulates you and what works for you, and then you'd be able to teach someone else what you know works for you. I think that's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
A, you're having orgasms,
yes.
win.
Yes.
B, you're teaching someone else how to give you orgasms, win-win.
Yep. And I think another thing that I want to sort of invite you to think about is when you do masturbate, what are you fantasizing about?
Okay, sure.
Because I think the key to what turns us on lies in our fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
I have a theory about dum-sub, like dominant versus submissive. I think it lies on a continuum. Mm-hmm. And I think that in your fantasy, if you're fantasizing about being the submissive one, mm-hmm. or are you fantasizing about being the dominant one, can really be key to what you want your partner to be. If you're fantasizing about being the submissive one, then you want your partner to take control in the bedroom.
That's right.
And if you're fantasizing about being the dominant one, then you want your partner to be a little bit more submissive. I think those are types of things that are really important to know, because then you can really get your needs met in the bedroom.
Yes. And it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. As a woman, you can be dominant or submissive, and as a man, you can be dominant or submissive.
True.
And it might sound kind of scary at first, but we're not talking necessarily about whips and chains. We're talking about like who's taking control, and this can be in very subtle ways. It doesn't even have to be in a really big way, but what is it that turns you on? What do you fantasize about? Mm-hmm. What is it that is going to float your boat, so to speak?
Yeah, and I think that the whole dominant thing or the submissive thing, like a lot of people that have really they're really responsible, or they have high-powered jobs, mm-hmm. and they're go-getters.
Yes.
In the bedroom, they just want to surrender, and we call it submissive, but submissive, surrender, tomato. It doesn't necessarily mean you're powerless.
Right, right.
And it doesn't say anything about you as a person. It's just what you like in the bedroom, or what you want in the bedroom that specific day.
And one of them is not better than the other. There's no judgment, no value judgment on what you like. What you like is what you like, and it's all good.
Yeah.
As long as it turns you on and no one is getting hurt and nobody's boundaries are getting violated, it's all good. And I mean, you can make agreements with your partner to go as extreme with this as you want to, mm-hmm. or as very subtle as you want to. And the most important thing is that it turns you on and the other person is willing to do it, or it turns them on too.
Yeah, I think this question becomes most embarrassing because it shines a light sometimes on maybe our lack of experience with sex. Yeah. And the thing about what we do, we're not super experienced sexually necessarily. We just are very open-minded about it. So don't be embarrassed about your lack of experience.
Right.
Take charge of it yourself. You've only had one partner, you've only had two partners, no big deal. Mm-hmm. You are in charge of your sexuality, and masturbation is sort of like the gateway to opening up the sex, the sex.
Yeah. It's not about quantity, it's about quality.
Yeah.
And the more you know yourself and what you like, the better quality you're going to have.
Yeah. Oh, and I want to say one more thing before we go, is that masturbation does not replace sex, or sex shouldn't replace masturbation. Just because you're in a relationship and having sex doesn't mean that you should stop masturbating.
No, I mean, it's a private time that you have yourself, and not for nothing, physiologically it does a lot for positive viewpoints in your brain, and there's so many hormones, mm-hmm. and it's a very good thing for your body, mm-hmm. and it doesn't replace sex because it's personal and it's yours. And just because you have a really great partner doesn't mean you stop masturbating necessarily.
Yeah, and just because you masturbate doesn't mean that you're some sort of weirdo that doesn't get laid.
Yeah,
I don't
for
like
sure,
that.
no.
So masturbating is good, it's the gateway to sexuality, and it's really the best way to learn what you like and be able to...
Go touch yourselves, people.
Right now.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening to The Sex Talk.